Today I'm playing FM26, but I can't make any signings. Instead, I'm handing over that responsibility to ChatGPT. The aim is to win the Champions League in 5 seasons, and if I don't, I have to snap the disc of one of my old copies of FM. For this challenge, I'll be managing AC Milan, which has been decided by this mystery shirt box, but more on that later. And I've implemented the following rules. I must win the Champions League within 5 seasons, but I must also break the record transfer for a signing coming in and the transfer record for a sale. And finally, at the end of the save, I must have a positive net spend. And a reminder, if I fail one of these old FM games, they get it. And it's taken me months of buying on Vinted to complete this collection, so I'd be upset. Let's now get started though by saying, hello ChatGPT. And so this is where we begin our challenge. We've been made the manager here at AC Milan, where we're predicted to finish in our first season 3rd in the league. We're behind Inter, we're behind Napoli. So we've got a little bit of work to do, and we're hoping that ChatGPT leads us down the right path in terms of transfers. We've got £21.5 million left in our transfer budget to begin the save, but we don't have anything in terms of wage budget. And so the first thing that I've done is set us up in a tactic that I think can hopefully get the best out of the players that we've already got, and then we'll give all of this information to ChatGPT and see what they decide is best for us to do in the transfer market before the window closes. I wanted us to be solid, so I've put us in a 3 at the back system, both in possession and out of possession. And I'm hoping this can be a bit of a solid base from us to work with. I'm pretty happy with the core of players that we've got here. We've got solid defenders in Tomori and Pavlicic. We've got a great goalkeeper in Mike Maignan, and then hopefully a bit of magic in midfield in Luka Modric, with Rafa Leao and a target forward in Santiago Jimenez up front. This I can work with. So the first response I received was this. ChatGPT says, love it. I'm your sporting director. We'll build a Milan that wins the Champions League within 5 seasons, smashes both club transfer records and still nets a profit overall. Here's how we'll run it and what I need from you. So they put together a 5-year blueprint. In year 1, we're looking to stabilize the spine, but also break the transfer record, which might be a bit tricky with the transfer budget we've got, but I like the vision. Year 2, monetize 1 star at peak value to break the record sale. And the idea is then to replace them with 2 19 to 22 elite prospects. And then in year 3, trying to have a really strong squad that can win the Serie A and try and reach the semi-finals of the Champions League. And then I guess from here, it's trying to build on this to try and win the Champions League in either year 4 or year 5. Okay, so after giving ChatGPT some screenshots and the context that they're going to need, this is the plan. So these are the window objectives for our first window of the save. Number 1, it's to buy 1 elite centre-back, going for record fee caliber, which is going to be difficult, but maybe they've got a plan here because of our transfer budget that's left. And also to sign 1 attacking right wing-back. They also want us to renew Mike Maignan as our keeper, but if he refuses, maybe look to replace him. And then finally sell some players and trim from the squad Origi, Terracciano, the backup keeper. And if we sign a right wing back, Salamakers, who's currently playing at right wing back. Now, controversially, they also say that we should consider selling Pulisic, only if a strong bid arrives though. Otherwise, he can be our second striker AM support in our 3-5-2 that we've set up in. And then it goes into more detail. The outgoing plans: sell Divock Origi, sell Pietro Terracciano and Alexis Salamakers, potentially Christian Pulisic, but keep hold of the following: Modric, Rabiot, Tomori, Pavlicic, etc. In terms of managing our incomings then, I told ChatGPT to give me the filters to use to try to identify targets. And then when I've used the filters, I'll give ChatGPT the targets and they'll choose who we sign. And so we've got some filters to use for a record signing at centre-back, a right wing-back option, and then if Maignan doesn't want to renew, we've got some goalkeeper filters to use too. So let's put these things into action. Right, so using ChatGPT's filters, these are the players that have come up for centre-back, and I'll be feeding these back to ChatGPT and hoping they then make a decision on who we should sign. These are the centre-backs: Gay, Lacroix, Consa, Igor, Ranieri, and Gila. Now, personally, I'd be leaning towards maybe like Gila towards the bottom if he'd actually join, or Ranieri looks pretty good. But ChatGPT did have this idea of breaking the transfer record on this player. Maybe we'd need to use some installments to go and do that. The other position ChatGPT asked us to search for was right wing back, where the filters brought up these 3 players. We've got Kadioglu at Brighton, Vanderson at Monaco, and Candela at Spezia, who's on loan from Venezia, meaning that we might not be able to sign them now anyway. My personal preference here would probably be Vanderson from Monaco, but we're not doing the transfers. ChatGPT are, so let's feed these back and see what they say. The reply was as follows. It says, thank you for the shortlist and the contract news. I did also let ChatGPT know that Mignon and Tamori are both set to sign new contracts after I offered them. And I also updated them that there seems to be a bit of interest in Divock Origi, but no interest yet in Pulisic or the backup keeper Terracciano. And now, based on all of this, the definite moves that ChatGPT wants us to make are the following. First up, we should sign Vanderson for right wing back. We should be offering about £24 million in total and trying to structure it in the way that they've said it. Around about £7 million up front. This will then hopefully keep us within the £21.5 million transfer budget that we've got right now. We should also be trying to sign Maxence Lacroix, who ChatGPT has identified as the first choice right centre-back signing we should make. It should total around £40 million, and if it exceeds £40 million, I'll need to stop and tell ChatGPT, and they'll probably tell us to go for somebody else instead. Finally, they'd like us to sell Divock Origi, Terracciano, and then Salamanca's after we've agreed a deal for Vanderson. We've got further clarity on Pulisic as well, saying we should not sell him unless we receive a bid of more than £45 million. And so I'm going to go and put this into action. All right then, on the first day of the Serie A season then, this is our transfer business. In line with what ChatGPT has asked us to do, we have signed Vanderson and Lacroix to beef out our defence a little bit. We have sold Salamanca's and then 2 youngsters as well. When I receive a bid, I go over to ChatGPT and say, what should I do with this? And then follow their instructions. ChatGPT did want us to sell Origi, did want us to sell the backup keeper Terracciano. We didn't receive good enough bids in ChatGPT's eyes, so they're both still at the club. And it is now the day where we kick off our Serie A season, our first season at the club. We have played a Coppa Italia game against Südtirol, and we won that one 4-0, which is a good sign. It means that maybe our tactics that we've put in place might actually work. With the season about to begin, though, and that being the end of the business, I guess now that I go and play until the January transfer window, and then we go back to ChatGPT and find out what they want us to do transfer-wise. So let's get playing. And here we are then on the 31st of December. We are about halfway through our season. We've played 16, so just under halfway through the Serie A season, and it's going pretty well. The signings that ChatGPT has made so far seem to be working quite nicely. We are second in the league, only behind Roma in Serie A, and we've actually got a game in hand on them, meaning we could go within 1 point of them at the top of the table, which is a lovely place to be. This 3 at the back system we're using is performing pretty good, and the signings we made have fitted in quite nicely, although Maxence Lacroix hasn't always been getting in the team ahead of the other defenders we've got. Matteo Gabbia being the main example, he's been really good on this right-hand side, although Lacroix did have an injury, which is why he's played less games. He started 7 and made 5 sub-appearances, whereas Vanderson, who's currently injured at the moment, has been really good for us at right wing back. ChatGPT, maybe they know what they're talking about, because he's played 19 and got 10 assists from right wing back. He's super important. Now, an interesting other development is that Christian Pulisic up front has been one of our main strikers. He's been leading the line along with Rafa Leao, meaning Santiago Jimenez has dropped down to the bench. So maybe that will change the way that ChatGPT wants to treat Christian Pulisic in this January window. Another nice update is that we received some more money from the Sandro Tonali transfer, which has taken our transfer budget up to £38.5 million now, and we've actually got some wage budget left over as well. All of this I have, of course, fed back to ChatGPT. I said it's the 31st of December and we're approaching the January transfer window. Here are some context screenshots for you to consider. Now, that includes players whose contracts are expiring, as well as how the team is performing in the league, as well as having a look at the squad and how the players are performing individually, and the squad screen. And this was the reply from ChatGPT. The January plan is for clear, definite moves only. No major signings. The squad is balanced after Vanderson and Lacroix came in, so we should save the cash for a summer record buy. Now, they raise a valid point here. So far, we've not completed any of our challenges. We've obviously not won the Champions League yet. We've not made the record transfer signing, and we've not made the record transfer sale. And we're even failing our last challenge at the moment because our transfer outs have been more than our transfers in. So our net spend isn't looking good. So maybe that's why ChatGPT here are asking us to be a little bit sensible. As well as no major signings, they ask us to have a look for some short-term cover, maybe a loan at right wing back. Continue to try and sell some players, Origi, Terracciano, to free up more wages. To keep Pulisic now, unless there is a big bid of over 45 million. And interestingly, they've asked us not to renew the contract of Luka Modric, who has actually been quite key so far. With all of this in mind, I'm going to go and complete this January transfer window now and report back, whilst also keeping ChatGPT up to date with everything that's happening. I'll see you, though, at the end of the window. Today's video is brought to you by Surprise Shirts. Now, Surprise Shirts, they're my favourite mystery football shirt company in the world. Not only do they offer thousands of authentic football shirts, but they offer something for you, the Football Manager player, with their FM Edition box, which means that the shirt that you receive will be a club that's playable in Football Manager. It's the perfect way to choose the club to do a save with in FM, just like I did in this video. If you follow the link in the description and use my code at checkout, Clayts10, you'll save yourself 10%. And if you want to go one step further, you can become a subscriber and you get a box every month, as well as access to competitions and giveaways and lovely extras. And if you use my code for that, Clayts20, you get 20% off the first month. You've probably seen them on the channel before. It's because I love them. Surprise shirts, check the link in the description, and let's get back to today's video. And there we go then. That takes us up to the end of January in our first season here at Milan. Now on the screen is not actually the biggest headline of this January. Yes, we dropped points in 4 of our 6 games, all in the league as well. And it does mean that we have dropped down a little bit in the league to 3rd place now. Still though, with 2 points off the top, because Roma have dropped points as well, we're actually a little bit in a title race now, which is a big improvement actually, especially when you consider, and I'm not sure I've given you the context really, Milan finished 8th in Serie A last season, which is why we're not in the Champions League this year. The biggest aim for us for a save like this is to get back into the Champions League. But if we could, against the odds, win this league, just imagine the types of player, the caliber of player that we could attract to Milan this summer. Of course, still going off ChatGPT's recommendations though. But as I say, those results, they weren't the biggest headline, because during January, something big has indeed happened, and that is the sale of Christian Pulisic to Real Madrid. They came in with a bid of £58 million. And when I consulted with ChatGPT on what we should do here, they said we should try and counter it. But if they refuse on negotiations, we should accept £58 million. And that's what's come to pass. It means that right now we are on track to pass one of our challenges, because our net spend is positive. We spent £59 million and we brought in £79 million. Unfortunately though, that £58 million wasn't enough to be our record sale. That record sale is still Kaká, also to Real Madrid, but that was about €67 million, £62 million. So pretty close, but not quite. Now, even in spite of this sale, ChatGPT said that we should continue without replacing Christian Pulisic in January, and we shouldn't be looking for any transfers in this window, which is why on deadline day here, we're not going to do any more business. We're going to go and continue to the end of our first season. And then with some very healthy looking funds, I think it might get quite serious in the summer. So I'll see you at the end of the season and we'll see what madness ChatGPT can come up with. Well, at the end of season number 1, look at the league table. AC Milan, our first season, we're champions. We've won the Serie A in our very first season at the club. And maybe I need to make a tactics video about this system that I've had us playing in this 3 at the back. I will say really quickly, I think 3 at the back, 5 at the back systems in FM26 are super effective. And just to show you as well, both setups here, there isn't any weird in possession, out of possession changes going on here, transitions going on here. It's very much just the same shape, both in and out of possession. Combined, it looks like that. It looks like the same shape. But despite a pretty average end of the season where we only won 2 of our last 4 games, it was enough to win us the league title. I'm delighted, but a little bit surprised by how quickly we've built a team that can win a league title. That tells me that aiming for the Champions League, it doesn't seem too ridiculous right now. And it seems crazy to me that so much of this success has been built off ChatGPT's recommendations for signings. Van der Sar has been the star man in the entire squad. He played 41 times as our right wing back, got 5 goals from right wing back and 13 assists. A 7.59 average rating is the best in the squad. And him, alongside Lacroix, who was also very decent and very solid and ended up playing a lot of games as well, has transformed an AC Milan team that finished 8th and not in the Champions League to winning the league and now back in the Champions League. It gives us the platform we need to go and make this save a success. Budgets-wise, we've been given £76 million to go and spend in the summer, which is a bit annoying because it seems to have taken away some of the money that we had in there before from the Pulisic sale. But I suppose it does mean that overall we're in a pretty healthy financial state right now. And so I fed all of this context to ChatGPT and I've asked them now to suggest what we do in this summer window. And the answer was this. Number 1, we should be signing a marquee right centre midfielder that is going to break the club signing record. The aim is to bring in a Modric successor whose contract expires this summer for between 50 and 60 million pounds, which would break the transfer record, which is currently Rafael for 42 million pounds. Next up, we shouldn't be trying to force the record sale for now. Now I actually went to double check the record sale at AC Milan because where I was looking on Transfermarkt, which had the sale of Kaká for 67 million euros, which would be 58.4 million pounds. And we actually sold Pulisic for 58 million pounds, whereas FM26 lists the record sale as 57.9 million pounds. Now, very technically, if we go by the game's data, we've already achieved this objective. However, because of things like currency conversions and things, I'm going to call it now and say to beat our record transfer sale, we need to sell somebody for more than 60 million pounds. Let's make it very clear, very obvious, and say that we haven't achieved that one yet. We need to sell somebody for more than 60 million. Fair? And ChatGPT says we don't need to focus on this summer. Instead, we'll look at players like Rafa Leao, Mike Maignan, Tomori, who could potentially fetch massive fees later on in the save. This summer, in line with one of our other objectives, we should be looking to keep our net spend positive, to maybe selling players like Chukwueze, Lorenzo Colombo, both of whom are coming back from their loans, and then Origi and Terracciano, who ChatGPT is very keen to get rid of. And so ChatGPT clarifies to say that we should be signing one marquee midfielder, and then maybe, if we can afford to, a backup goalkeeper. And so then I used the filters that ChatGPT provided to try and find some midfield targets. And this here was the short list of players that I provided to ChatGPT. Pablo Torre, Lucas Bergvall, Alex Scott, Hakon Arne Haraldsson, and Edward Spurtsian. And from that list, ChatGPT really liked the look of Hakon Arne Haraldsson from Lille. They would like us to offer a package that would total over £60 million and therefore beat the transfer records, which was about £42 million previously, for Rafa Leao. Another interesting thing that ChatGPT does tell us to do is to promote Kamada, who's coming back from their loan, and use him as one of our striker options, almost becoming the replacement for Pulisic, who of course we sold in January. And so that's the plan for the summer window. I'm going to go and execute that transfer plan now, whilst all the time feeding back anything that happens to ChatGPT, and I will see you when we begin season 2, and crucially, we begin our journey in the Champions League. And there we have another summer in the banks then. And it's been a busy one of me going back and forth with ChatGPT to try and get our business done. But at the end of the window, our squad looks like this. Now, in goal, there is a new goalkeeper. It's Pierluigi Gallina. Now, don't panic about this. There is an injury at the moment to our main keeper, Mike Maignan. And because of that injury and because of registration reasons, ChatGPT did advise me to bring in a backup goalkeeper for under £2.5 million, and we managed to sign Gallini for £2.2 million. ChatGPT gave me a load of filters, and the only player that came up that fit those filters was Gallini, and he's going to play now for the first 7 or so weeks of this season. The only other signing in the team is that of Hakon Arne Haraldsson, as we talked about before. He's come in for a new club record transfer signing of £60 million, meaning at this stage now, let me show you the transfer history to show you that. With our sales, which for this summer add up to £34 million, we have completed one of our objectives for the club record transfer. We are on course to complete another one of our objectives, to have a positive net spend. Meaning we just need to go and win the Champions League and do a record sale from here. Just to show you the full picture for the net spend, we spent £62 million this summer, sold players for £34 million. But last season, with a few extra players going, for example, the loan of Alex Jimenez to Bournemouth became permanent. That was another £16 million. We ended up selling players for £119 million after only spending £59 million. So we're well on course for this positive net spend so far. But at the end of the day, the main objective is to win the Champions League. So with the league title under our belts now, we're going to go and start this season. And I'm really hoping we build on things and give a good account of ourselves. It's only season 2, but giving a good account of ourselves in the Champions League I think it would go a long way right now. Maybe even help to improve our reputation, always helping to bring in bigger and better players each summer. And hopefully it'll give us some more money to spend as well. So I'll see you in about January. Yes, it's a different day, but I'm still playing this save. The aim is still to win this Champions League. And I've not actually come back in January because I've gone to the end of our season. The reason for that is because we didn't make any transfers in the January window. I went to ChatGPT and I asked them. I gave ChatGPT the context, as you can see here, of how our season was going. And I said, what should we do in the window? And they said, no January signings. So that was fine. So I've jumped all the way through to the end of our second season here in the save. And having won the league last year, well, this year we finished 4th. It was a very close title race in Serie A, with Torino, of all teams, winning the title this season. They got themselves 76 points. We finished 4th on 69, just 2 points off finishing second. But vitally, and I suppose this is the most important thing, it means we are back in the Champions League for next season. Now, the aim of this save is to win the Champions League. Did we win it in season 2? No. Spurs, Tottenham Hotspur, have won the Champions League in 2027. in FM26. They beat Real Madrid in the final. This does, though, make me feel a little bit better because it was actually Spurs that knocked us out of the Champions League this season. It was a 5-1 aggregate victory, which looks worse than it was, but we did lose to them 3-1 in the second leg, as you can see on the screen. Santiago Jimenez scored a goal for us, but then Solanke and James Maddison with 2. Knocked us out in the quarter-final. Now, I'd be lying if I said I was completely disappointed with this. I feel like it was a good account of ourselves that we gave. We got through the league phase. We got through a couple of rounds before losing to Spurs. And then Spurs, maybe they're just a super team in 2027. If I show you here, look, we knocked out Bologna of course, our Serie A rivals in the round before, which was the round of 16. And then we had to play the playoff round because we finished, I think it was 14th in the league phase, but we beat Red Star in that round pretty comprehensively as well. So all in all, it's a bit of a solidifying season. We finished 4th in the league and got ourselves back into the Champions League, and we were pretty good in the Champions League generally. The squad performed pretty well overall, with the star man once again being Vanderson. ChatGPT has smashed it out the park with that signing at right wing back, and you could kind of say the same thing about the other signings that it's made as well. Maxence Lacroix started 49 games this year and was very, very solid as our right-sided centre-back. And our summer signing, Hakon Haraldsson, was brilliant in our midfield as well. He finished the season on 11 assists, which was equal with Vanderson, who also got 11 assists. The other main talking point by looking at this squad screen is the emergence of Francesco Kamada this year. He started in the end 15 games, 16 sub appearances, scored 7 goals, and is becoming a striker that I think we can start to rely on. His value has shot up to between 76 and 91 million pounds, so we'll either be using him a lot going forward, or maybe he could become the record sale. Of course, I don't get to make that choice because that's up to ChatGPT. Going into season 3, we have 89 million pounds to spend with a hefty wage budget to go and use as well. And of course, I fed all of this back to ChatGPT and asked them to tell me what I should go and do. And this was the reply. There's a few things to unpack here. The first one is seemingly a big aim to try and break the record sale this summer. I'm a little bit worried about this because the main player they seem to be putting forward for this is Santiago Jimenez, where they want to try and bring in a bid of 60 million pounds guaranteed. In game though, his value is only 38 million, so this seems like a stretch, but we'll try our best. And ChatGPT's been pretty reserved as well when it comes to incomings. They want one upgrade only, an elite DM or anchor to rotate with Jashari, or maybe even be better than Jashari, and they'd like us to spend around 55 million pounds. They've once again given us the filters to use to try and identify the players, which I'll go and put into the game and then show to ChatGPT. And I did just clarify one thing with ChatGPT to show you how I'm kind of working it, trying to give all of the context that they need. I'm giving them details such as, small clarification, Ruben Loftus-Cheek's contract is expiring this summer, not next. And so they asked me to try and sell him immediately for 2 to 3 million pounds, which of course might be quite difficult. Time now though to go and put this plan into practice, and I'll be back to show you the squad before we start our 3rd season. And here is our transfer business for season number 3 then. ChatGPT has decided to bring in 3 players. There is Kaishu Sano, who was chosen to be the primary target for the defensive midfield spot once I submitted the shortlist based on the filters that ChatGPT gave me. He signed for £34 million, and then there were 2 free transfer signings. Joe Scally as a right wing-back option, backup to Vanderson, and then Fabio Vieira in the midfield. ChatGPT asked me to see any players that were on a free transfer and identified these 2 as well as Kostas Tsimikas, but Tsimikas chose to go to Cagliari. There were some sales as well. ChatGPT encouraged me to sell a few of these players. Yunus Musa was one of them, although we ended up having to loan him out. Chukwueze went to Al Ettifaq for £9.5 million, and then we actually received this bid for Zachary Athercame, and ChatGPT said it was good enough to sell him for £12.5 million. And that means this summer we've spent £34 million, but received £23 million. And I've been asking ChatGPT to keep track of our net spend, and with these movements, it means that we're currently £25 million in profit, which means we're still meeting our 4th objective of the save. All that's left to do is to sell a player for the record transfer of £60 million or more, and of course, win the Champions League. And with the squad and tactics now looking like this, we just played our first game of the 3rd season. And it was a really good start. A 4-0 win away at Sassuolo. Leao scored the first goal. I'm still playing him as a target forward, by the way. I don't think it necessarily fits him perfectly, but he seems to be doing really well there. Vanderson got the second goal. He is the star man of the save so far. And then into the second half, look, spread wide for a Stupinian. Cross to the back post. There's Nkunku up above the goalkeeper somehow to make it 3-0. And then it was 4-0 right at the end before, in the 90th minute, Joe Scally on his debut, look down the right-hand side, beats his man, cuts inside, and then pulls it back Nkunku is a great sub, by the way, to be able to bring on. And that gave us a final score of 4-0, a really positive start in a season where I don't think it's completely out of the realms of possibility to go and try and win this Champions League, although that would be tough. But let's go and try. I'll either see you in January if we do any business, or at the end of the season if ChatGPT decides not to. Well, so I have indeed gone to the end of the season, because when we got to January, I spoke to ChatGPT and they told me to do basically nothing. A little bit later, they did do some business, but we'll come to that in a second, because now I need to show you how this third season has gone here at the club. And it was an interesting one. Here's the squad, and I want to start with the squad because I want to point out a couple of performers in particular. The main one being Francesco Kamada is becoming one of the best strikers in the world. He's now 20 years old, which means he's got so much room still to grow. His value is super high, look, but he has scored for us this season 26 goals in 57 games, alongside Rafa Leao, who's also got himself 21 goals and 13 assists, look. This team is about to go to the next level. I really think so, if we get our transfer recruitment correct this summer. And obviously that's not going to be up to me. Again, I need to point you towards Vanderson, because again, he's had an unbelievable season. 9 goals from right wing back and 13 assists. Both of the wing backs in this system are super attacking. Have a look at this. Estupiñán with 6 and 13 in terms of goals and assists. And then Vanderson with 9 and 13. Both of them with really high average ratings as well. It's a lot of fun what they can create and the way that we attack in this system here. Even if it's pretty simple, isn't it? We're only using the same, lovely little relationship lines between everybody too. We've had a really settled team this season. You can see that by the appearance numbers on the players here. There's lots of appearances for Nkunku, 33 starts from him, but he was sort of all over the place and played in midfield quite a lot. He's become quite familiar with playing as one of our central midfielders, and it's been really impressive in there as well, Christopher Nkunku. But other than him, Rabiot and Gabbia, who's played 51 times, starting more often in the middle than Tomori. But again, Tomori had a pretty big injury that he came back from and sort of found himself on the bench because of that. But Gabbia, I might, you know what, I'm going to put him in there now for the sake of this, to show you what's usually been playing. This team has gone close. And when I say that, I mean on 2 fronts, except this one not as close. Our Milan team finished second to Inter. Our Milan rivals have ran away with things this season. They are a really good team, and it feels like it's come at the wrong time for us, because if we're going to go and try and win the Champions League, it's going to be quite upsetting if the other best team in Europe, if it's Inter. They got themselves 94 points, only dropping points in 8 games over the course of the season. So we were well behind them and well beaten, but we finished second. We're going to be in the Champions League for another season next year. But it's in the Champions League that we really did go close. We have made it to not the final, as you can see here. It will be a Liverpool versus Inter final, and Inter, as I mentioned before, are a real force at the moment. So much so that they knocked us out in the semi-finals of the Champions League. We made it all the way to the semi-finals, but a 3-2 aggregate victory. They beat us 1-0 in our home leg, and then we drew 1-1 in the away leg. So we couldn't have gone much closer to reaching it to a Champions League final. So we will have to go into season number 4, maybe season number 5, if we're going to achieve this challenge. And that's just made me remember if I'm going to avoid having to break one of my old FM discs. On a more positive note, in the Champions League this year, we knocked out Real Madrid in the quarterfinal with a 4-2 victory, and Bayern Munich in the round of 16 with a 5-2 victory, a 3-1 win away in Munich, showing the credentials that we actually do have now. That was all after we managed to finish 8th in the league phase and giving ourselves the luxury of skipping past the playoff round. It all means heading into season number 4, our recruitment budgets are £88 million and £140,000 spare in the wage budget. But I mentioned earlier that we had done some business, and this is that business. Morten Hjulmand on a free transfer has been arranged. I showed ChatGPT the list of players whose contracts were expiring, and it didn't hesitate. It said go for Morten Hjulmand immediately because they're an elite talent and they can play in that role that we've currently got Sano, who we signed from PSG, playing in. And so he'll be joining in the summer. And obviously that's useful because it's on a free transfer, meaning our net spend isn't affected. And so 2 summer windows left for our challenge, and time potentially running out to do our record sale. So maybe I'll remind ChatGPT that we might need to try and do that maybe this summer. But we'll see what they say when I now go and provide them with all of the screenshots for context. And I'll be back when I've done some transfer business. And here we go then, a 4th summer transfer window. And this is what ChatGPT has led me to do over the course of this window. First of all, they gave us a bit of a plan for the summer. They said we should sign the following. First and foremost, an A-tier midfield controller or creator centre mid, an upgrade at left centre back, and then optional, a versatile elite forward who could come in and rotate with Kamada and Rafa Leao, who are currently the first choices there. ChatGPT then gave me the attribute filters to go and find these players, which I went and did and fed back with some screenshots. This was the screenshot for the central midfielder. It includes players like Carlos Baleba, Lavia, Zaire Emery, all the way down to at the end Adrian Banabi and Medon Berisha. Now the response from ChatGPT was this. First choice should be Carlos Baleba from Brighton. This is the primary signing. And ChatGPT gave me the valuations and parameters that I should bid for Baleba. Now I thought this was quite low. It was £38 million being the amount that we should walk away if Brighton asked for more than this. Now, even on this screenshot that I submitted, Baleba's asking price is between 52 and 64 million pounds. So I felt like this probably wasn't going to happen, which is exactly what did happen. When I submitted the bids, they asked for 80.5 million pounds. And I said to ChatGPT, this is still nowhere near Brighton's valuation. They ask for around 80 million when you negotiate. They replied, yeah, that's a hard no at 80 million pounds. And so I returned to the original list, and the second option was to sign Warren Zaire Emery from PSG, initially on a loan. And so I submitted a bid in line with what ChatGPT guided me to do, where we'd pay his wages and then buy him outright next summer for just under £40 million. PSG accepted it, and ChatGPT signed it off. They said, yes, do it. And so with that in the bank, I then submitted a left centre-back shortlist according to ChatGPT's attribute filters. And these were the players that popped up as being potential signings. Out of that list, ChatGPT preferred Lucas Baroldo from PSG. And they gave all the reasons why and told me how much to go and bid, with £38 million once again being the maximum. Worth noting here that the second choice was Piero Hincapié from Arsenal and Lorenzo Parola from Olympiacos. If we couldn't get Baroldo, we'd move on to these players. So I did that and I offered a contract to Baroldo, but he chose to join Manchester United. So I instead moved to the second choice on the list, and that was Piero Hincapié, and I signed him for a total of £58 million. ChatGPT signed off on this, meaning our summer window is like this. We signed Morten Hjulmand on a free transfer. We signed Warren Zaire Emery on loan, but then we'll buy him for £39.5 million next summer. And we signed Piero Hincapié as a new left-sided centre-back. There were some sales as well, and we've been chasing this big money sale to be our record transfer out. It's not happened yet, and I'm a bit worried about it because we've only got one summer left after this one. Otherwise, we fail the whole thing, and I'll have to snap the old FM disc, which I really don't want to do. This summer, though, we did sell Samuel Ricci to Fiorentina for £27 million, Santiago Jimenez for £25 million, and Yunus Musa has moved permanently for £17.5 million. We've turned a profit this summer, and I asked ChatGPT to tally up the overall net spend, which was this. We were £42 million in profit before this window, and now 12 million profit from this window means we are £54 million up over the course of the entire save. That fourth challenge of ours, we're continuing to pass it right now. And so heading into our fourth season, our starting 11 now looks a little bit like this. We actually have really good depth as well. We have Hincapié coming into the defense. We have Hjulmand into the midfield, and he looks really good, by the way, at this stage. I don't know if I've shown you his profile all that much. He's 29, but a seriously quality player with great leadership as well. He's got 18 leadership in there, so he's going to be hopefully a bit of a leader in our midfield too. Warren Zaire Emery in the midfield, and then we've kept together this strike force of Rafa Leao and Francesco Kamada, which I'm hoping fires us to Champions League glory this season. I think we can do it. I really do think we can do it, especially when we've actually made a start to this season already. And it was a glorious, glorious opening day win over Atalanta away from home. Christopher Nkunku started the game with the injury to Rafa Leao at the moment. So basically, all of the new players are injured going into this fourth season, but they should be back pretty soon. Nkunku setting up Kamada there. Look, Nkunku starting, and I think it was a hat-trick he scored in this first game here. It was a 5-1 victory away at Atalanta, and Atalanta have been right up there in these past seasons too. Vanderson, of course, the star man, scoring the goal at the back post there for 4-0, was it? And then Nkunku made it 5 with that goal, or was there that was 4, and then this is 5 here with Nkunku making it 5-0, and then they did get a goal back. But what a ridiculous start, and this is what's given me hopefully the confidence that we can actually, that's a great finish, to hopefully go and do this in this fourth season. I've been playing this save for 2 straight days. I'd love to go and get things done in this fourth season. So I'm going to go and get started. I'll be back in January if we do more transfer business, or I'll be back at the end of the season if we don't. Hopefully with a Champions League final, which we'll go and play as a live com. Or I guess it will just be an update where we've gone out if we don't get to the final. Anyway, let's go and try. And welcome back then to the end of season number 4, where currently we're about to wrap up the Serie A title. We're winning 4-0 at home to Como right now. We've had 37 shots. They've had 4. And this is going to be, I'm hoping, a lovely little trophy lift for our second league title of the save. Now, it's not the Champions League. You've probably guessed by the fact that we're coming back for this that we've not won the Champions League again. But I did want to share with you another moment that shows the quality of this team. Here come the AC Milan team. Look, and Nkunku on the pitch there. It was a 4-0 win, I think. It was a goal from Leao, 1 from Haraldsson, 2 from Estupinian, I think it was. And we have beaten the likes of Juventus and Inter to win Serie A, to win the Scudetto. That's what it's called, right? Yeah. We are a really good football team, but we've only got one more season to go to try and win this Champions League. It's squeaky bum time, as Sir Alex Ferguson would call it. Champions time to celebrate, yes. But we're going to have a busy summer. 1, because we have to try and go one step better and win the Champions League. And 2, we still have to make a record sale. Otherwise, we're going to fail the challenge regardless of whether I win the Champions League. There is a league table, by the way. We've pipped Juventus by a point. Did Juventus? Yeah, they beat Roma, look, 2-0. But our 4-0 win was enough to see us through as champions. We did, though, ultimately get knocked out by one of the finalists in the Champions League again, because it's City Arsenal in the Champions League final this year. And if we go back to the quarterfinals, that's where we met our match. We were knocked out by City 4-2 on aggregate. Really annoyingly, we won the home leg 1-0, but then got, destroyed in the second leg. Look, 4-1 by Manchester City. They're a good team. They've got themselves to the final as well, where they play Arsenal. It's a quarter-final, and then it was the semi-final the year before that. Now, usually at this stage, if I was in charge of transfers, this is where I'd go a little bit crazy. I would try and sign absolutely anybody and put all of the money in installments and just go for it for the final season. But of course, I'm not in charge of transfers, and I've got a feeling that ChatGPT isn't going to do that. But I'm going to go and see what they say and complete this transfer window, and I'll be back to take on our final season. Right, okay, so we're heading into our final season now, and I've just completed our summer transfer business in line with what ChatGPT has been asking us to do. And before I show you it, I just want to say, I think they've gone slightly more rogue than they have been so far in this video. This was how it went down. So I initially asked ChatGPT what positions we should go for. This was after sending through where we finished in the league, how we did in the Champions League, and how our squad performed. And they asked for a midfielder, again, another centre-back, a right-sided one, and also a left wing-back, which I thought we were pretty covered with Estupinian, but ChatGPT had other ideas. I then provided shortlists based on the attributes that they gave me, and ChatGPT suggested that we should sign Jack Hinshelwood from Brighton, Jean-Claude Todibo from West Ham, and Matteo Ruggeri from Atletico Madrid. And it was in that order as well. First Jack Hinshelwood, then Jean-Claude Todibo, and then Matteo Ruggeri as third choice. I then made bids for these 3 players and said, these are the best deals I can get for each. Should I proceed? And does it keep us net spend positive? Of course, this is massively important at this stage. We need to, first of all, try and get a massive sale, the record sale going out, which I'll update you on in a second. And then we need to make sure we stay net spend positive. Otherwise, we fail the challenge, and this final season, well, it doesn't matter anyway. And ChatGPT replied to say, no, if we were to sign these players, we would actually be net spend negative. So they then told us to cancel Hinshelwood, the £64 million it would cost to sign him, continue to sign Todibo, and then cancel Ruggeri. Now, at this stage, I should also mention, as it says here, that we did sell a player for a record sale. We received a bid from Inter Milan of £64 million for Morten Hjulmand. And remember, we signed Hjulmand on a free transfer a couple of seasons ago now. Inter, our Milan rivals, offered £64 million. And to me, this felt like something we couldn't really turn down because we have to break this record sale, don't we? And ChatGPT agreed. They said, yes, accept it. It breaks the club record on the books and we can cover the gap with Zaire Emery, plus Sano, plus Fofana, while we move for a replacement. Now, I think this was some of the thinking when they went on to suggest Jack Hinshelwood as a signing. But as I said before, they decided then to cancel this deal and go ahead with Jean-Claude Todibo as our final season signing. Do you feel a little bit uninspired by that transfer? Because I definitely do. I then did sign Todibo, sent it through to ChatGPT to let them know, and also update them on the fact that we sold De Winter for £12.5 million and that we received a bid for Maxence Lacroix from Barcelona for £31.5 million. That could actually rise to £41 million if certain future fees were met for that deal. I also asked them to calculate the up-to-date net spend as well and sent them through all of the deals that we've done in the past. And ChatGPT had decided that we should accept the Lacroix offer. So I went ahead and did that and then asked what would be the overall net spend inclusive of this Lacroix deal. And ChatGPT told me at this stage that we would have been 68 to 70 million pounds net profit overall. So I asked them, because it was the last season, I said, do you want us to use that profit to make one more signing? We had loads of cash in the bank, as you can see by this screenshot here. And ChatGPT was apparently just obsessed with the idea of signing Matteo Ruggeri from Atletico Madrid, a left wing back, when we already had Estepinian there, who had been brilliant in the save before. So, as is the rule with this video, I signed Matteo Ruggeri for £47.5 million. We then had a bit of back and forth about whether we would be net spend positive or breaking even. And I did a few of my own calculations because I feel like ChatGPT got confused at this stage. And we would have a positive net spend. Boosted as well because I sold Jashari and a player called Angelicio for just under £3 million. And that would cover us completely. So after signing Todibo and Ruggeri, again, uninspiring, right? This is how we head in to our final season at the club. Our 5th season, the last chance to win the Champions League. It's Mike Maignan in goal. He continues to keep goal for us. Todibo, Tamori, Hincapié. We've also still got Gabbia, who will play a lot of games this season, I'm sure of it. Sano starts back in as the defensive midfielder in place of Hjulmand, who's now moved to Inter. Vanderson on the right. Ruggeri probably on the left at left wing back. And then Haraldsson and Zaire Emery as starting midfielders. We've got Fofana. We've got some other options in there. Rabiot's still at the club. Nkunku playing as a midfielder is still an option too. And then up front, the main lads, Rafa Leao and Kamada lead the line. This is it. This is the final season. I will see you, hopefully, in the latter stages of the Champions League, or I'll see you when we've gone out and I'm going to have to snap the disc of an old FM. So hopefully that's not the case, and I'll see you towards the end of the season. Okay, then, 5 seasons of toiling, really. It comes down to this. We are in the Champions League semi-final in our 5th and final season here. And of course, it's a blockbuster game. It's Inter, our Milan rivals, that we play in the Champions League semi-final. Our final season here, the 5th season, is going really, really well for us. In the league, we're joint on points at the top with Inter with 4 games to go. So a title race. I mean, look at the record. It's exactly the same. 24 games won out of 34, 4 draws, 6 losses. They've scored more goals, but conceded more than us as well. Super close at the top of the league. And then we play each other in the Champions League semi-final. And we're going to go through the games now together, because if we can get past Inter, it is PSG or Napoli in the final. Now, PSG have a 2-0 lead in that tie, so more than likely it's going to be PSG in the final if we can get there. Our record against Inter isn't amazing over the years, and this is the team that we're going to be using. The team's pretty much picked itself this year, and do you know what? I need to bow down to the superior wisdom of ChatGPT again, because Matteo Ruggeri has started pretty much every game from left wing back and has got 19 assists from that position, 7.35 average rating. Him and Vanderson, the wing backs, are again the stars of the show, although Rafa Leao is having a very good season up front as well. 26 goals in 37 starts, and Kamada's got 21 in 39 as well. So we are functioning very well as a football team. We've also won a couple of cups along the way this season too. It's going very well, but will it continue to go well? Let's submit this team. By the way, I made one little change there. Gabby has come in instead of Todibo in the team. Let's get ourselves into it and see if we can get past Inter. I'd love to finish this with the Champions League final. It would be maybe a little bit disappointing if we went out in the semis, but this has happened before. We've lost to Inter in the semi-finals before, haven't we? There's the Inter team. They've got Giorgio Mamadashvili in goal. Loads of the players already. Oh, I forgot the narrative of Hjulmand playing for them as well against us. They've picked up Gilberto Mora as well, one of my favorite, if not the best wonder kid that you can sign. By the way, there's a video all about that you should watch on the channel in FM26. There's the 2 teams. There's the Champions League flag thing. And we're underway. Come on, lads. Go and do the business. This is technically our home game, although, you know, reasons, it's not maybe as important as usual, being Milan rivals and all that. But we're underway. Let's see how it goes. It has been a cagey first 20 minutes. We've actually had just that highlight to start the game. Here comes the first proper highlight then of this semi-final first leg. in the first 22 minutes, we've had one shot on goal and it was from Inter and it was wide. Here comes the first proper attack. It's lovely football from Inter. Cherky through here to Lautaro Martinez. Good save from Mike Maignan. No. Honestly, this game is about as cagey as a semi-final can be. 40 minutes on the clock now. Look at the stats. 2 shots each. We've hit 2 on target, but it's a 0.02 XG from us. They've got a mammoth 0.11. It is tight. Not much is happening as the halftime whistle is about to... There is the halftime whistle. Yeah, not much happening. The momentum bar just about... I mean, it's very even. What started in our favour went into Inter's afterwards. XG... I mean, what? I think that's a bug. Let's continue. Let's tell the lads that we're not going to win this if we don't shoot. Let's tell them to have more shots. Maybe think about some subs in this second half. But I don't think a draw is good enough in what is technically our home game here. Okay, we're on to about the hour mark, approaching the hour mark, and nothing has happened. So I'm actually going to go in and I'm going to make some subs. Let's leave the game going in the background because maybe something will happen if we do that. Kamada's struggling a little bit, but I think... Leao, who's more struggling in terms of fitness, is going to be the replacement here. We're going to do Nkunku because this man usually scores goals for us. I might do a midfield sub too. Maybe Fofana in for Haraldsson. Can they make anything happen in this second half? For half an hour to go. Possibly not being the answer to that question because now we've got 19 minutes to play and it is still very firmly 0-0 in this game. We've got 0.03. XG 0.42 for Inter, but I mean that's pretty poor. There's been no action, no highlights really of anything happening. It's so tight with now 13 to play. I think it's time to make another. I'm gonna make another sub just to see if we can make anything happen. Kamada's struggling, really struggling now. Is there even attacking changes that we can make for us here? We've got no one really on the bench because of registration really. Loads of players I couldn't put in because of the registration just didn't really work for us. Let's do Sano for Rabiot. Rabiot's got some height. Maybe that'll help us with set pieces. Maybe. I'm clutching. Definitely. 10 to play. 0-0. And that, I think, is going to be that. The final whistle's going to blow here. We are going to draw this first leg 0-0. Neither team deserved to win it. 6 shots for us, 7 for them. Slightly higher XG for them, but our best player was our goalkeeper. In fact, both top performers in the game, look, were the 2 goalkeepers. And I think that just about sums it all up. We're going to come back next week and hopefully do the business as technically being the away team. That's worrying because that was our home tie. Okay, let's regroup and I'll see you for the second leg. All right, so here we are then. It is the day of the semi-final second leg, and just wanted to point you in the direction of we have gone above Inter in the league. Now, I wonder if they rested players, whereas I went pretty full strength because I know I technically could have favoured the Champions League in this because of the challenge, but I thought realistically, there's a league title to be won there. You'd have to go strong in both games, wouldn't you? So I did go strong. We won 4-0 in our game. We have actually gone legitimately top of the league now, so... I'm hoping that means that they've dropped points and maybe that can be a bit of a negative for them going into this game. Let's go and get our team picked, review this team selection and get ourselves into this second leg. I've got a horrible feeling that everything fails here and we've passed everything else up until this point. Come on, lads. And this is how we're going to line up then for the second leg. It's going to be Maignan in goal, Gabia, Hincapié, Pavlicic, Sano in front of the defence, Vanderson on the right-hand side, Ruggeri on the left, Haraldsson, Fofana, Kamada, Leao. Go and get us to the Champions League final for the first time in these 5 seasons. And can we finish in a blaze of glory? Or am I going to have to snap the disc of one of my FM games? And I promise you, I really don't want to go and do that. Address the team and let's get ourselves into this game. There's the Milan team. It's Marcus Thuram leading the line. Gilberto Mora does play Cherky on the left-hand side. There's our team. I didn't see. Is Hjulmand in the team there? Maybe he can be a secret agent for us. We're underway. As we've given the ball away inside the first 5 seconds there, which is never a good sign. Good tackle from Vanderson, though. He's won it back. Maybe we'll have highlights in this game. We have a highlight. Immediately, it's Inter Milan. Cherky, a lovely bit of play, but a loose pass. Leao. We've got Kamada making a run, but we go backwards. Now, can we go and take the initiative early here? Pavlicic. Ruggeri. One of ChatGPT's, well, I mean, the final signing that ChatGPT made. Hangs it up for Kamada. Good header. Kamada again. 2 on the rebound. I should say it's 1-0. I don't know why I shouted 2. We lead in the Champions League semi-final second leg. It's Francesco Kamada, one of the stars of the show. Ruggeri sets it up. He hangs it up to the back post, and Kamada's not a tall player, but he gets up really high there, and the rebound is smashed in, and we have a lead. Now, do I try and hold on to this lead? I think doing that too early is maybe not... Do you know what I'm actually going to? I'm not going to go defensive, but I'm going to drop it a little bit and see if we can ride out a bit of the game, and then as time etches away, because it was so tight in that first leg, do I try to shut this down even more? So far, we're on top here. First 10 minutes, 2 shots from us, both on target, nothing at all from Inter so far. 15 minutes played. Half an hour now on the clock, and, well, nothing has happened since that goal that we've scored. It's exactly how we want this to go. Inter, technically, it does say have had a shot, but I didn't see it as a highlight, and it wasn't on target, and it had an XG of 0.602. Here's the next highlight. Vanderson with the tackle, but Cherky's going to pick it up. That's a great ball into Saar. He's got players in the middle. Thuram's there. Good save, Mignon. He's stuck out an arm, and he's kept it out of the net. That's a lovely back heel from Hjulman. Did you see that? Dumfries forward again. Gilberto Mora gets it onto his left foot. Hangs up Saar's there. Oh, my word. That's a great goal. I'm hoping that there's going to be an offside flag, but I don't think there is. That is a second wave of an attack. I thought we got away with it with that Mignon save, but it is now 1-1, and Inter Milan, as the home team, advantage to them, you'd probably say. Gilberto Mora proving once again why he's one of the best young players in this game. And it's a lovely downward header. He gets it down, and it bounces almost over Maignan in goal, doesn't it? Okay, back to the drawing board. Maybe now I need to push this back up. Let's go attacking again and maybe take the game back towards Inter. See if we can get ourselves a second goal. Maybe before half-time would be nice, but it's all square. Okay, half-time, it is 1-1. It's still very even. You'd maybe even say that we've edged it slightly, even though highlights-wise, we've not seen too much of either team. Just the 2 goals, really, in terms of goal-mouth action. Second half, we need to start thinking about changes. How can we force this game into our favour? Who can we bring on? Who can make the difference here? Players like Rabiot, maybe. He's been a good sub. Nkunku's the obvious one. Maybe for Leao. Maybe Nkunku in the midfield could be the play here. Get more attacking players on that pitch. Maybe for Fofana. There's 53 minutes on the clock. We have a highlight. Gabia has it at the back. We've got the ball in the Inter half. And a goal here could be massive. It could be the goal that takes us to the Champions League final. Vanderson. One of the first signing. I think he might be the first signing. Fofana. Back to Vanderson. Can he find a cross from here? Little back heel. Fofana. Kamada. Oh, my word. It's a great goal. And Francesco Kamada gets his second. We lead again. What? I mean, that's some of the stars of this show combining for this goal. Look, it's Fofana, Vanderson. Well, Vanderson being the star. Lovely bit of play from him. Finds Fofana, who crosses. It's such a simple goal as well, isn't it? He just kind of strokes it into the back of the net. We lead. And there's, what, 35 minutes still to play here. Do I go more defensive again now? I was thinking about getting Nkunku on. I probably don't want to use Nkunku in the midfield now, do I? Okay, 64 on the clock. We have some tired legs. In to have the ball, though, for a highlight here. I was about to make changes, and this highlight has just started. I'm hoping we can win this ball back high up the pitch, but Inter look like they're going to mount their own attack here. Barella, Norton Cuffy, ball over the top. That's an easy ball for Saar. He's already scored once. The keeper's made the save. Mike Maignan makes the save. It's a corner. What a chance that was. We're still attacking. I'm going to do those subs now. We're going to go to positive, and I'm going to think about maybe some experience in the midfield. Do you know what? There is the perfect man for this. It's going to be Adrian Rabiot to come on. And I'm going to do fresh legs as well. Fofana for Zaire-Emery, because Zaire-Emery can be more defensively minded if you need him to be as well. And I might do... I'm looking at ratings here, really. Let's do Gabia for... Let's not do Gabia. I don't think there's a good sub on the bench for Gabia. Do you know, I might leave it. Maybe I'll leave that third sub for now. Let's see if we can see through these last 20 minutes. Still, we lead with a place in the Champions League final up for grabs. Can we just see this one through? When do I go really defensive? When do I start to say, just see this game through now? I think it might be about now. I'm going to do it. We're going to change the shape slightly. Out of possession, I'm going to ask, I don't know who to do it actually. Maybe it is Rabiot. Maybe we do it like this. We'll do Rabiot drop in, and then Zaire-Emery goes there, and we just become slightly more defensively minded when we don't have the ball. Who's better as that DM spot? It might actually, let's do Zaire Emery and then swap those over like that. It should be, yeah, that works for me. Just a little change in the midfield and we'll go, oh, there's a highlight. Have I tweaked into a mistake here? Maignan clears in to have the ball. Hjulmand against his old team, Cherky. Carlos Augusto, Marcus Thuram. It's nice. He's in. It's Sarr. He's already missed one shot. Oh, he's not missed that one, has he? Right, revert what I just did. Cancel that. It's into 2. Milan 2. And they cut us open. Do you know what? I'm not even sure the changes had gone through. So I don't think I'm going to blame myself for that. Although maybe it was my mistake there. Let's have it back how it was before. Let's go like this again. It was working. Back to the normal systems. Back to an attacking mentality. We were still on positive. It wasn't like I really sat back. Let's just revert things back and see if we can go and get the goal at one end. Otherwise, this is going to go to extra time. That does worry me because we've got quite a tired team. We didn't rest people at the weekend, whereas maybe Inter did when they didn't win their game. Didn't check that, but I'm looking at some of their players now and thinking, well, I'm looking at some of our players and thinking they are a bit tired. There's 9 to play. Is this going to be the cruelest way to fail this challenge? Or can we do something magical heading into the final few minutes? Inter have taken are better on the stats now, aren't they? 3 minutes to play. There's a lot of passes back and forth between our players there. We've got 6 minutes added on. 2-2 on aggregate. 2-2 on the night. I'm not going to make any changes in case it goes to extra time, and I want to use those changes for fresh legs for that, really. We have a highlight right at the end. Ruggeri, ChatGPT's final signing, could win it for us and take us to the Champions League final here. Can he find the corner with a free kick? No. I mean, it would have been nice, wouldn't it? That would have been almost poetic, to be honest. It's a good save from Mamardashvili. We do have a corner. The chance isn't over yet. Zaire Emery to swing it in. Can he find a Milan head? Leao is up for it, but it's cleared by Hjulmand. I mean, will there be a break here from Inter? Surely not. Assane Diao is a tricky customer. He does have Thuram with him. He's beat a man. Cherky. Carlos Augusto is giving it away. Okay, that is should... Oh my word, we've lost Rabiot. He's got it back. It's okay. That should be the end of highlight, and that should be the end of 90 minutes. Blow the whistle, referee. Or let us have an attack. I don't like it because it's close to our goal. Ruggeri. Rabiot. Ruggeri again. We're still playing after the allotted 6 minutes here from the referee. Is it enough time for a proper chance for us? Pavlicic. We're not really getting it forward particularly quickly either. Ruggeri again. If he goes backwards here, surely the whistle's gone. It's end of 90 minutes. Okay. This is tight, isn't it? Address the team. I'm going to say I don't like what I saw. Try and motivate them a little bit. Now, I don't think you can do subs there. So I'm going to do them straight away now. And have a look. We've got 4 subs left to play because we've got the additional one for extra time here. I think just for fresh legs, we're going to do Nkunku for Leao. I'm looking at my pretty paltry looking bench and thinking, I'm not really sure what other... It's a lot of youngsters because of registration. I think I might have to leave it at Nkunku up front, and maybe we'll have to go for youngsters if players get super tired. At the moment, we don't look too bad. Vanderson, Ruggeri... Kamada looking a bit tired. Gabia looking a bit tired, but I think the players on the bench aren't quite good enough. Can we find a winner? Or will it be Inter finding a winner? We've got the ball in our own box here. Pavlicic goes long. And that's going to be won by an Inter head, and Hjulmand brings it forward. Cherky. Thought it was going to be a little bit short. We've sent them backwards. Hjulmand. I don't like this. This feels goal. Assane Diao, Sarr for the hat-trick. Oh my, he's hit the bar. He's hit the bar. Sarr. We're halfway through the first half of extra time. There's 5 or so minutes until the half tie. If this goes to penalties and we lose, can you imagine how heartbroken I'm going to be? After basically full entire day's worth of playing and recording this save. I really would like to win it at the end. That is the halftime whistle. I think I might have to do that thing now that I didn't want to do and bring on an unlikely hero maybe. Let's do a sub. We've got some very tired legs. So, who's playing not so well and is tired? Gabia for... Let's bring on the other Ruggeri. Cisse for Sano. Right there. Right, there's a highlight before I've even managed to do it. Carlos Augusto. Into... Oh, I thought it was going to be intercepted. First minute of this second half of extra time as well. Augusto. It's good football at the back from Inter. Bisek. Into Starga. Through ball. This is a chance. Fernandez. They've scored. We trail. We're losing. Having been ahead twice. It's now 3-2 to Inter. And I'm just looking at that bench and the players we're bringing on. And I think this might be curtains, you know. There's 10 minutes to play. And we need a bit of a miracle now. We just need a goal. We need to find something, make something happen. And we can save ourselves. Otherwise, we would have completed every other objective. Every other target for this video was done except for winning the Champions League. We had a net spend, a positive net spend. We did the record sale. We did the record signing. We just haven't managed to win the Champions League. Cherky for Inter Milan now. Can we break from a corner? Or is this going to be the final nail in the coffin? Cherky is taking his time. Right, ref, book him. Finally, he whips it in. Oh, there it is. Jan Bisek. He's massive. He's the most me defender in the game. And that's the end of the dream. How do I choose which game I'm going to snap? I don't want to break one of these. Okay, we've lost. And that is the final whistle then. Inter 4, Milan 2. And we're out. I've failed. I've passed everything else, but I've failed to win the Champions League in the 5 seasons. And I just need to pick one of these games. Just randomly. This one. It's FM 2010. Oh, before I do my punishment, a quick one. I've done this before, but lots of you will have issues with things like ChatGPT and AI in general. I've donated £20 to the National Trust to plant a tree to try and cover some of my usage of AI models in today's video. I get it, but it makes for a fun video, so I'm trying to do my part that way. And now I'm going to have to go back on Vinted to find this game again, because thanks for watching, everyone. Subscribe.